is your craft?
My craft is death.
Hello and welcome to the Command Phase. My name is Mark and thank you so much for joining me. Recently, Focus Entertainment and Saber Interactive released the hugely anticipated Space Marine 2, 13 years after the first hit our screens. Needless to say, it's been an incredible experience playing through this third-person shooter as a long-time Warhammer 40k player and enthusiast of the fictional world. I wasn't 100% sure what I was expecting going into this,
Why don't they attack?
but I was blown away by not only the world building and stunning environments, but also the response this game has gotten from the wider community. I can safely say that this game has single-handedly brought a huge number of players into this world, and if they can enjoy it half as much as we do, then they'll potentially jump into the hobby as well, which can only be a good thing. So in this video, we're going to take a deeper look into the game itself and discuss what it does so well, what could be improved, and my hopes for the future. So without any further ado, let's get stuck in.
For the Emperor!
In Space Marine 2, you continue your adventure with Titus over 100 years since the first game. But don't worry if you haven't played the first one or like me couldn't remember much of it, as the game does a great job of explaining everything you need to know. He spent the last century serving in the Space Marines Death Watch chapter, going on the most dangerous missions to purge the alien as a Black Shield. Your opening mission drops you straight into the thick of things to deploy a virus bomb to thwart the Tyranids' invasion, where Titus's bravery and dedication to the Emperor rewards him with being brought back into the fold as an Ultramarine and being made Primaris. The story then takes you on a variety of missions to some really diverse and incredible looking locations across several planets. You get some inter-squad conflict and banter, which to be fair I found quite amusing at times,
And now he has your command.
breaking up the few twists and turns the developing story brings you. Plus, with a large number of different enemies to take on, I didn't get bored fighting my way through everything that was thrown at me. There was definitely a fair number of
Oh, hell yeah!
moments during the game, with the grandness and scale of the conflict meeting a crescendo in the final level, which was truly epic. Definitely a very enjoyable campaign. The brutal combat is the biggest selling point for this game, and boy does it deliver. All of the weapons feel hefty, with some pretty substantial kickback on the ranged weaponry and plenty of devastating and iconic melee weapons, from the chainsword to the mighty Thunderhammer. You have plenty of options and variety to face any enemy you may come across,
Another one dead.
with the game often delivering you the options you may need as you go. Plus, each weapon feels as meaty as you'd expect, with bolter rounds as an example blowing apart lesser enemies with a satisfying explosion of gore. Being in the thick of the action is where you'll want to be, and it's actually one of the safest places. First of all, dealing damage helps you regain lost health from all of the hits that you've taken, to achieving perfect parries, gun strikes and brutal executions, helping you to regain lost shields. That, and they offer you a window of invulnerability while these animations take place to offer you another level of survivability. You'll certainly find chaining these together alongside all of your light and heavy attack combos to deal with hordes of Tyranids and Thousand Suns really satisfying to play. While there aren't a huge number of different execution animations, this is something that could well be added later on. Plus, for a hulking super soldier in power armor, your character's movements feel just right, and they're far more nimble than you might think. One aspect I really liked when fighting the Tyranids was taking out the Tyranid warrior or the larger monster leading the swarms of Hormagaunts and Termagants severed their synaptic link, causing them to all be confused or die. This allows you not to get overwhelmed if you can prioritize your targets in-game. For me, Saber have gotten the look and grimdark feel of the 41st millennium absolutely spot on with this game. You can tell a huge amount of love and attention to detail has been spent to bring this iconic and oppressive world to life. The environments are gorgeous, whether it's the Hive City on Avarax, interior of a Mechanicus facility, the burial world of Demarium, or the jungles of the death world Kadaku. Each feels really distinctive, but nothing feels out of place. With so many small touches like the iconography, candles and cherubs flying around, to the beautiful statues of Saint Celestine and the Blood Angels Primarch Sanguinius, you'll certainly never be without something incredible to look at. There was a massive number of moments as a 40k player recognizing everything as I traversed the levels, even the humble armoured containers you can get on the tabletop as terrain. I'm sure I wasn't the only one naming all of the different vehicles each time I saw a new one. I really liked that the developers didn't try to explain everything in the world as you played throughout, which would have inevitably slowed down the pace, leaving it up to the player whether they would like to dive into the lore afterwards to find out what something was. I think the most common one on social media was, what on earth are the flying babies? Things like this really help bring the player's intrigue into the grimdark oppressive world of the 41st millennium, with the same feeling we all had walking into a Warhammer store for the first time and spotting the incredible looking models and wanting to know more. What I do love is the fact that while you are playing as the main character and the grand role that you have in the overall story, the enormity of the worlds with the fighting going on all around you really help to show the sheer scale of all the conflicts. I honestly couldn't help but look around and take in all the incredible views that have been provided to us. As someone that worked as an environment artist in the past, I can only imagine how long these took to craft. It's a very graphically demanding game, but my word does it hit everything I'd want from it. A truly stunning piece of work. The game offers you 3 different modes to play. The campaign you'll play through with your 2 squad mates, which can either be the more than capable bots, or for arguably more fun, 2 friends to take their place. Then you have Operations and Eternal War, where you get to choose from 6 different classes of Space Marines, each having their own set of special abilities and different weapon loadouts. The Tactical is the most versatile class, giving you an Auspex scan ability which allows you to highlight and weaken enemies in the area, plus access to the widest loadout of weapons. Then there's the Assault option, which has no primary ranged weapon options, but allows you to utilise the jump pack Titus has access to in the campaign. Being able to smash into enemies with the iconic Thunderhammer is always satisfying. The Vanguard has access to a grapnel launcher to pull himself into close combat, kicking the enemy in the process. With it being a lighter armour class, it is more nimble than that of the Tactical Marine and is best suited for skirmishing combat and picking off targets. The Bulwark is one of the tankiest classes, sporting a close combat weapon, pistol and storm shield. It's pretty much a Blade Guard veteran from the tabletop game. Plus, he's able to plant a banner that restores armour to any nearby squad mates, which is perfect for surviving the most dangerous moments. The Sniper is what you'd expect, utilising long-range weaponry and a limited-use camo cloak to reposition in action, or getting close undetected and use the bolt carbine on priority targets, which is great in PvP. Last of all, we have the Heavy. This class uses Gravis armor for extra durability and has access to the Heavy Bolter, Multi-Melter or Heavy Plasma Incinerator to blow away the toughest of enemies. Plus, it has the Iron Halo ability to create a front-facing bubble shield to protect itself and everyone behind from ranged attacks. For the operations, you'll be completing a variety of standalone missions that take place concurrently with the campaign. I'd certainly be recommending playing the full campaign before jumping into operations mode, just to allow you not to spoil any of the storyline that takes place. Currently, there are 6 different missions which are all great fun, especially with a couple of friends to play through. And like with the campaign, there are 4 difficulty levels to each, allowing you to test yourself and earn more experience and currencies. More on this later on in the video. While 6 missions will keep you going for a little while, especially when pushing the difficulty and trying to upgrade weapons and cosmetics, I do imagine that they might get a little stale. That being said, with new PvE missions coming before the end of the year, that will certainly help. The only other minor thing is, unless you're playing with a group of friends, the number of times I've jumped into a game with a certain class that I prefer, only to find that others are the same and don't want to change, can be slightly annoying. But again, this just means I need to find multiple classes I prefer to level up. In terms of the PvP in the game, Eternal War gives you the opportunity to test yourself in a 6v6 environment on 3 different maps and 3 different game modes. Annihilation is the good old-fashioned team deathmatch where the first to 50 kills wins. Seize Ground is where you try to control 3 locations across the map which provide a steady stream of points, and last of all, Capture and Control is where you're claiming a single location on the map which rotates every 90 seconds. Both of those require 200 points in total to win. In this, you'll either be on the team of the Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines, each with the same loadout options, and you can only have 2 of each class per team. The PvP in the game is really enjoyable, one I've liked jumping into whenever I get some free time, trying out all of the different options and seeing which suits my playstyle. I would say trying to play as a team and sticking together, or at least with 1 or 2 members, really helps your survivability in the game and killing potential. There are none of the executions and gun strikes in this mode, so survivability isn't quite as high as the PvE aspects of the game, but still doesn't reduce the fun. Something I'd like to see is a lot more map variety in the future of the game, especially something like the AdMech facility interiors we saw in the campaign, or even a Space Hulk. I feel that the environments for the PvP aren't as visually striking as those in the main part of the game, which is a bit of a shame. But with the development team at Saber Interactive stating new PvP game modes and arenas will be coming in Season 3 of the game in 2025, I'm sure we will only see improvements to these minor gripes to a truly fantastic game. I mentioned the currency earlier in the video that you gain from both the Operations and Eternal War games. Well, these are utilised to customising your characters, whether this is upgrading your weaponry for the Operations mode or the aesthetics of your armour and weaponry for both. What I really like here is that you can look through the heraldry to unlock specific chapters with plenty to choose from, which includes the first founding chapters, a number of the successor chapters, the Heretic Astartes chapters, and a number of unofficial chapters as well. I especially like the nod to the Blood Ravens from Dawn of War. You're also able to create your own schemes as well, so if you've made up your own lore for an army that you own in real life, you can replicate these in the game, which is a really nice touch, especially with all the paints being the same name as they are in the Citadel range as well, which means if you're new to the hobby and want to paint a model in person, you can go into the store and have a good starting point of what you'll need. As you complete more operation missions or win games in Eternal War with each of the classes, or using certain weapons, you'll also unlock new skins or cosmetics to show off your experience in game as well. One thing I felt a little lackluster was on the Chaos Space Marine side. While each of the 6 classes looked their respective parts, with each having a specific sculpt for each legion, swapping their colour schemes doesn't change their sculpted look, which is a bit of a shame. For example, the Assault option, which ends up being a slightly different coloured Night Lord. Maybe this is something that could well be added to in the future. As mentioned, Saber Interactive and Focus Entertainment have detailed the first year of the game post-launch with a content roadmap of what we can expect, with more weapons, modes and missions to look forward to, plus a fair number of cosmetics in the season passes for those interested. This all looks pretty promising for the game, and the devs have been very active on social media to find out what the player base would like. This is a fantastic thing in my eyes and can only be a positive for the game going forward. Overall, Space Marine 2 has been a fantastic game to play, especially as a Warhammer 40k fan already. The combat feels incredible and the environments are absolutely stunning. I certainly feel that this is a great example of what can be done with the world of Warhammer. Plus, with the number of people this game has reached with the likes of mainstream media and popular gamers on YouTube playing this in front of their vast number of viewers, we may well see an influx of people wanting to get into the tabletop hobby and learn more about this incredible IP, which can only be a good thing and something I'd love to see. More people collecting, painting and playing games does nothing other than make the community bigger and better, with more opportunities to see incredible work or have more people at your local gaming store to play games with. Personally, I've been collecting and playing since 3rd edition, and for me, bar Dawn of War, which was released back in 2004, this game will do more for Games Workshop and Warhammer 40k than any of the 100+ games in their catalogue. I can't wait to see what the results of this will look like in a few months' time in the hobby space. Let me know in the comment section below if you've played Space Marine 2 and what you've made of it. I'd love to know. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like and subscribe button, as it really helps the channel to grow. Thank you all so much for watching the command phase, and I'll see you in the next video.